share.
Yeah, share the screen.
Right. Thank you. Raghuveer, my colleague Raghuveer will be doing it.
I've already done it. Yeah.
Okay. Raghuveer, can you please share the presentation? Hello all. Good evening. My name is Madhav. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of a company called Cornext, which is a small startup in the space of fodder preservation, using baling as a technology that can be a solution to the fodder crisis in India. So for the efforts that we have been putting over the last 7.5 years, I mean, since the inception of the company, Cornext has received 2 national awards, the National Best Startup Award, and also from another award from the Department of Animal Husbandry, Government of India. Apart from that, our startup is also part of the advisory council appointed by the Government of India on the matters of feed and fodder. Thank you. And yeah, you move to the next. So now we will discuss about the Indian dairy sector overview and the problems that the Indian dairy farmers are facing. India has the largest cattle population in the world, about 305 million, 30 crore cattle we have. That makes us the largest, populated in terms of cattle. Just give me 1 second, please. 1 second. I'm sorry about it. When you look at the, although we are the largest in terms of cattle population, but when it comes to the average milk yield, India is only about 1799 or about 1800, a little less than 2000. And you put it as a benchmark with the global, yield per cattle per season or per year is about 2700 liters. So that is still 35% short of what the global average is. But when you benchmark this with, the world's best, so every 7 or 8 cows, what would 7 or 8 Indian cows produce is equivalent to what an Israel or US cows are producing. This is largely because there is a huge shortage of feed, fodder, and hay in the country. Collectively put together, the shortage is as high as 30 to 40%, and in some cases, especially during seasons that are not very conducive for cultivation of fodder, this can go beyond 50%. And that is hitting the dairy women, which about 70% of the Indian dairy sector is run by women, and their incomes are badly hit. So Cornext has identified this as a problem and set on to find a solution to this problem. So in the next slide, we'll discuss a little more about the fodder shortage. And we in India, these are some of the things that we all have seen. There is a drought, running throughout the year in some part of the country, which means not even a blade of grass can be cultivated. And there is no water. Could be Maharashtra, could be Andhra, or could be any other location in the country. And we also have extreme flood conditions where it becomes even more difficult for you to go out and do any harvesting that is required for our grazing of the cattle. And we are seriously and largely dependent on paddy straw or wheat straw, and that is crop residue with no nutrition. So even if you have a genetic potential that is very good, where the governments have been spending quite a lot of money in increasing the genetic potential of cows, but still, because you are giving very poor quality fodder, you'll never be able to optimize the yield potential of a cow. And in the distress mode, each year, farmers, when livestock is an asset, which is procured at about 60,000 to 1,50,000 rupees, is sold in a distress mode because farmers consider them as a family member and they're not able to see them suffer for lack of any fodder. And this is the case across the country. There is no one single state that I can isolate and tell that this is right, very, very good. And this fodder shortage is hitting below the belt for the Indian dairy sector. Although being the largest producer of milk, there is still a significant requirement of milk in our country, and there is a significant requirement of fodder in the country, and there is so much more money that can be earned by these dairy farmers across the entire farming community. This is the problem that is widely prevalent in the country. So when you take a bird's eye view of Indian dairy sector, the forward logistics, whether a dairy farmer produces a liter of a milk or 5 liters or 100 liter of milk, it doesn't really matter. He gets his remunerative price and the milk gets picked up from the nearest or at the farm gate, so that the milk reaches the nearest town, city, either through a cooperative or private enterprises. So the art and the science of logistics in terms of carrying milk from point of production to the point of consumption has been perfected, so that every morning you get up at about 5 o'clock, your chai you're not missing because the milk is coming to your doorstep without any problem. And you don't know the source of the milk, but it comes from, it could be coming all the way from to Hyderabad from Gujarat, or it could be coming from Chittoor, or it could be coming from Karimnagar, which is next to Karimnagar Mulknoor Dairy or something like that. So milk, once produced, is reaching the doorstep. But when you look at the backend integration, that is one of the most important contributors for the health of a cow, be it fodder, breeding, and management practices. There is a huge gap, and there is a huge opportunity for innovators, entrepreneurs, farmers, policymakers, scientists to contribute in this particular area, where we have to work on increasing the management practices and the fodder and breeding plan, keeping Indian, Indian community, because Indian dairy farmer is typically a 3 to 4, is a marginal farmer with an average holding of about 3 to 4 cattle. So we have come up with this concept called silage. I mean, silage is not new. Silage was there for many years. Silage was done in many traditional ways. And silage, we have identified as a game changer, but not in the existing form that it is currently being done. But if you feed silage and with the locally available crop, now we can confidently say that a wide variety of crops, about 22 varieties, 23 varieties, that you can convert them into silage. Depending on what is cultivated locally, you can convert it into silage, preserve it in such a way that the preserved fodder can be good to feed the cattle throughout the year. Now, although maize is the king of crops that is suitable for the nutrition in terms of energy, protein, and also the palatability. There's no doubt about it. But sorghum and barley, oats, sugarcane tops, where in Maharashtra, millions of hectares of crop each year is going for sugarcane, and the tops are just going waste. And we thought we should find a purpose to it. I mean, so we have demonstrated by converting it into silage wherever it is possible. Once we can achieve silage, so it increases the animal health, improves the productivity of the animal and the reproductive, because the entire dairy farm success depends on how, the cow gets its next, calf every year. I mean, so each year we need to have one calf, so that is an asset, and then that ensures as a mammal to continue to give the milk. And silage, properly preserved, can give a shelf life of up to 12 months. And it also cuts down on the feed concentrates. We call them as dana. Now is in a good quality dana is about 30 rupees, which makes it unviable, also unnecessary in many in the Indian dairy farm context. Especially the average is yield even for a good quality cow is only about 6 to 8 liters. And too much of dependency on feed concentrates is counterproductive both to the farmer and also to the health of animal. While silage is a game changer, in its current form, it is not. We'll try to make a comparison in the next slide about what are the current practices and what is the ideal solution. Yeah. So typically silage is either done in bag form. So if you people travel in Maharashtra, especially towards Ahmednagar, etc. districts where there is Latur, etc. They buy a 500 kg bag and try to preserve whatever crop that they could in a given season. and so that they can use it during the crisis period. But the problem with this bag is, it is not of good quality. There's a lot of air that will be left when silage. We have to understand that it is an anaerobic exercise, which means it has to be preserved in absence of oxygen. And we have to create an oxygen barrier so that the keeping quality of the keeping quality of the fodder preserved is good. Otherwise, the entire crop that is preserved will go waste. Farmers spend quite a lot of money on preserving it, like 50,000 rupees, 60,000 rupees, and end up usually wasting 40%, 30% in bags that are visible on your left-hand side, and they'll never be able to achieve the compaction or the quality that is required. So the bag silage is not the ideal solution, but it is more a desperate measure that farmers do. Bunker silage is definitely far better than, I'm talking about not the pit silage. Pit and bag silage are more or less the same result. They give the same result. But when we talk about bunker silage, definitely they give a better shelf life. The storage space is good. Compaction is very, very ideal than a bag silage would do. But there will still be wastage to a tune of 15% in terms of moisture loss, or wherever there is a small cut in the bunker sheets, it opens up oxygen entry, and then that completely spoils the crop. And the capital expenditure but for a good quality bunker is very huge. See, myself, I have worked with Indian School of Business, which is a reputed business school. Subsequently, I have resigned, have taken up dairy farming and actual cultivation of crop, where the pit silage, you can see the tires and the blue and green sheets over there, where I was doing silage to a tune of 2,500 tons, for which the infrastructure, including the bunkers, tractors, choppers, etc., was about 50-60 lakh rupees. That is not something that is ideal for a small dairy farm. I used to have a dairy farm of 200 cattle. So that again is not a solution in Indian conditions, and using a pit silage of 1 ton, 2 tons will end up in no good result. Now coming to the best solution, when we were doing silage and feeding our 200 plus cattle, so the farmers in the vicinity used to ask us if we can supply. These solutions that are traditionally done are good for captive consumption, which means you open it from the bunker or from the bag, you have to feed it the same day to your cattle, or else it starts losing its quality. So there is no way that you can ship it from point A to point B without losing its quality. Now, so that's when we started doing research about how this is being done across the globe. Is there a solution? Of course, Jasmine, there is a solution. The name of the solution is called baled silage. Baling is the white color, egg-like shape, spherical shape that you're looking at, or cylindrical in shape that you're looking at, is essentially a small pack of, say, anywhere between 50-60 kgs to 1 ton, packed so tightly that it can be either used for your captive purposes or be shipped to, say, for argument, Anantapur is one of the most driest districts in our country, like say Ahmednagar, etc. And you can produce, say, 3 districts away where there is plenty of crop available, and you pack it, preserve it, and ship it to using a truck. You can ship 5 tons, 10 tons, 20 tons, 30 tons, etc., to any point of consumption. So this is the idea that we have developed. We have looked at European technology. We started with it, and it's very costly to start with. But subsequently, we went on creating our own way of looking at it, making it the most affordable technology, baling technology in the world, which has revolutionized the entire concept of feeding cattle, not only in India, but many more countries, which we'll discuss in the next slide. Before we play the video, just want to tell, can you please pause it for a second? Okay. This baler that we have developed, it is called as mini silage baler. Initially, when we started using the European technology, it costed us about 6 to 7 crore rupees for the entire unit. That is something that an Indian entrepreneur cannot, or a dairy farmer cannot afford, and it is not a solution that can be viable. So we quickly realized it, although it is efficient or whatever, it can produce quite a lot of stuff, not suitable for Indian conditions. That triggered the bug of entrepreneurship that we are, bug of entrepreneurship that we already have in our minds. So we went ahead and created, a version that is more suitable to Indian context. This baler that you're looking at, is coming at about 10.5 lakhs in comparison with about 2 crore rupees worth of baler. So from 2 crores, straight away we were able to create a version that is just under 5,000 or 10,000, under 15,000 US dollars, so that it made the entire technology available at the doorstep. Secondly, instead of centralizing production, because the European technology is, it requires heavy duty tractors when you require thousands of acres in single clusters. And this one is a small version where you can produce with even about 50 acres of crop in a village, you can produce. And that 50 acres is good to feed about 1,000 tons, and which covers a mandal requirement. So that is the prime driver why we went into creating this technology. I'll play a video. Now we are having our balers or fodder entrepreneurs, as we fondly call them, across the country and in many more countries that we will see as we progress. So it could be a Jalandhar farmer, it could be somebody sitting in Tamil Nadu, somebody sitting in Maharashtra, somebody in Goa, somebody in Madhya Pradesh, somebody in Gujarat, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, so everywhere. I mean, we are now these guys are present across the country, and they are becoming fodders in their own right. So somebody sitting in Siliguri of West Bengal, so he bought he or she or a farmer producer organization or a rural unemployed youth, etc. It could be anybody. So practically, who is or a retired a government employee who wants to create an opportunity, or a farmer who is progressive. So there's a wide profile of entrepreneurs that we have, and started setting it up just at about 15 lakh rupees for the entire setup, and they are producing about 15-20 tons a day. We are calling this entire concept as Feed Next, and what we are going to do is we are going to create shortly a marketplace of all our fodder entrepreneurs, so that they will be able to optimize the production potential of this mission. In a given year, they can produce to a tune of about 2,000 metric tons, which is equivalent to a revenue generation of about 1 to 1.2 crore rupees. And 2,000 metric tons, and on average, even if you take 2,000 metric tons is 20 lakh cages. Even if you take 10 cages as the bare minimum that you're feeding, it is equivalent to 2 lakh animal feed rations, which means you can feed up to 2,000 cattle for up to 3-4 months without any problem. Especially it works wonders during, say, a frost season or a flood season or anything. Or you can use it throughout the year because it is highly nutritious. And the bale that we have developed is simple 60 kgs bale, which is good to feed for up to one animal for up to 1 week. And this completely revolutionized. We're glad to let you know that we have about 350 entrepreneurs across the country and also across the globe. So countries that have very similar farming profile, be it in Kenya, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Thailand, or Botswana, Chad, Tanzania, etc. All these countries have very similar farming profile, poor farmers. So this solution that is otherwise very high cost to set up. So a small investor is able to invest, and he is becoming an entrepreneur, directly delivering to the doorstep of the dairy farms. So that is revolutionizing. Millions of metric tons of silage is currently getting produced. And the impact on rural economy, a small mission, as I discussed earlier, is about 2,000 metric tons. And it typically increases from about 1,700 to about 2,500, which is at 800 liters per animal per year, which is like 1 to 2 liters per day. Silage is known to increase the milk yield. That is an additional 50 to 100 rupees extra income to the dairy farmer that is dependent. So you're also preserving, saving cattle from starvation. And this directly benefits the maize farmers, because usually this crop is harvested within 80 to 90 days, so that the maize farmers have an opportunity to go for one more crop. So that is an additional, benefit to them, and also creates skilled, semi-skilled, unskilled, work opportunity to about 15 to 20 jobs per unit. So there are various stakeholders that are taking advantage of it. Daily wage laborers at the rural level, the transport industry, which now, logistics, when you can transport it from point A to B. And, typically hay used to travel 600, 700 kilometers. Now it is traveling only about 100 to 150 kilometers. Thereby, there is a cut on the fossil fuels also. And then the dairy farmers, dairy cooperatives, for example, Amul, some of our customers are Amul, Milma, Sanchi, RCDF, which is the Rajasthan Cooperative Dairy Federation, KMF, Karnataka Milk Federation. So these are some of the dairy cooperatives when Avin is buying now. So these are some of the cooperative, at a federation level, who are buying this and supplying to the dairy farms. And of course, the benefit goes to the dairy farmers, maize farmers, by way of harvesting it early. And of course, the fodder entrepreneurs, and there is a government policy also in place now at both the state levels and also at the government level. So these are various stakeholders who are playing an active role in bringing this farm to the feed level. So the rural entrepreneurship, as I explained earlier, the solution is more suitable to the Indian dairy farmers and also the countries that have similar problems. And it addresses many problems, that otherwise the dairy community would be facing. And the bale size that we have developed is about 60 kgs and enabled decentralized production. Just in a place called Periyapatna in Mysore district, we have 20 to 30 units, which means the fodder typically travels only 20 kilometers or maybe 50 kilometers, at best maybe 70, 80 kilometers, where the dairy farmer directly focuses on the cattle. He completely is outsourcing his fodder activity to some fodder entrepreneur in the vicinity, and he gets highest quality preserved silage, and he's cutting down on his feed. So this is going to become even more bigger as we progress in the next 7 to 8 years. We are hopeful that thousands, if we have created 350, we are hopeful that we will be creating thousands of such small, medium and large entrepreneurs who will be doing great service to the dairy community. So the overall impact, as I told, if the farmer, although has a protection, I'll start from the right, the fodder entrepreneurs, although they can do more, even taking at about 60, 70% efficiency, he will be able to create an enterprise that is about 82 lakh 50,000 rupee turnover worth, and direct costs, all removed, he will be able to make a gross profit of about 16 lakh rupees. Usually, he will be able to recover the entire investment within one season, maximum the second season. So thereby, it is a very profitable enterprise at the fodder at the rural entrepreneur level. Second, maize farmers, it is a typical 85 to 90 days as against 130, 140 days if you're doing it for seed cultivation. Saves about 40, 45 days. So that cuts down the water, that cuts down the risks that he might be having. And he will be able to, the farmer will be able to generate more or less the same income that he would otherwise be selling by selling his grain in the nearest mandi. And the benefit is he will be going to the next crop, at a very greater pace than anybody else. When you recently might have seen tomato went to 200 to say about 4 rupees within a span of 5-6 months. So the same thing. So early entrants get the maximum benefit. So this is one very big advantage why farmers are giving us and our fodder entrepreneurs their crop without any problem. And it is very easy to do. Second, dairy farmers. I mean, each year we are producing about 18 lakh cattle feed rations, and there is a substantial increase in their milk yield. They are able to generate, because of this effort, collectively be generating about 10 crores additional revenue generated. So we are dreaming of making it 1,000 crore in the years coming. So the larger impact of our 300 fodder entrepreneurs is each year they produce about 400, near about 500,000 metric tons of fodder produced already, which is equivalent to feed about 4.5 crore animal rations, or 500,000 animals which can be given fodder ration for up to 100 days. And that leads to 800 liters on 500,000 cattle, and that leads to 45,000 acres of maize crop harvested. And when you feed, a starving cow produces more greenhouse gas emissions, and India's one of the largest contributors to greenhouse gas emissions is coming from cattle, and second from the stubble burning. So these two things in our own right, we are able to address all that a very minuscule proportion at this stage. As this grows, because 30 crore animals, I mean, we are still talking about a 5 million, 500,000 cattle for 100 days only. So we have the upside, like millions and millions of cattle requiring billions and billions of cages of fodder throughout the year. So far, directly and indirectly through our entrepreneurs, we are able to create 5,000 plus employment, and this is going to multiply. So as we progress in multiplying more and more fodder entrepreneurs, and the total energy savings. I mean, although I don't have a study that is already done, but taking the research articles, it is known to cut down. The research says that when you are feeding silage vis-a-vis heavily, charged compound nutrients, you can cut down the carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gas emissions by a mark of 15%. That is about equivalent to 38,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide gases, or 8,527 petrol-powered passenger vehicles driven for 1 year on the current scenario, at the level that we are doing. So once this number becomes 3,000, so you can extrapolate the situation. Yeah. So at a policy level, we have worked with the government of Andhra Pradesh earlier, drafted something called as fodder security policy, which went on to become the national best animal husbandry policy, and where the fodder was distributed under subsidiary, the then government, by the government of Andhra Pradesh, and then that attracted the government of India in drafting, in the Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund. There is significant space given to feed and fodder, and we were also made the member of National Advisory Commission for Development of Feed and Fodder segment. We have contributed for a policy advocacy in that particular area. So there are several policy initiatives. When if there is an entrepreneur who wants to take advantage of it, or you want to educate, FPOs, FPCs in your network, under National Livestock Mission, there is a 50% subsidy up to $100,000 or 60 lakh rupees or so, up to 101 crore rupees, on which there is a 50% subsidy. And then PMEGP, there are various schemes where setting up if silage making unit is considered to be an option, and there is a significant subsidy that is available, and also loans are available, but depending on what scheme that you are trying to avail, you can always take advantage of it. And there is a huge opportunity here, huge interest also. About 5,500 applicants for various activities within the dairy sector have gone. So far, Government of India has granted 157 applications, out of which a substantial portion also is going to towards feed and fodder sector. So beyond India, so we are in South America. We are, all these areas. we are the first people to introduce silage baling in their countries, because the earlier solutions were costing them about $200,000 to $300,000, whereas this is costing them about $15,000. So we are exporting very, very actively to all the countries. I mean, so far, 15 plus countries have taken advantage of this solution. We'll be doing more intense job in these areas and also to other areas. Yeah. Now we have added Tanzania, Chad, Botswana. I mean, that is not even in the very Ethiopia in the recent. As latest as this week, we have received an order of about 28,000 US dollars from Ethiopia. Yeah. Thank you so much. I mean, so we are now open to any questions that you might be having or any comments that you have. We are happy to take. Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Madhav, thanks for the wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
So the question I have is regarding the material that is used for the bale. So is it a biodegradable? So I just like to know about it.
Okay,
Thank you.
it's a very good question. And it's a food grade plastic, which is a recyclable plastic, just like your milk packets or any plastic material that we use. It's the same thing. So it is recyclable. It's not biodegradable at this stage.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Madhav, for the detailed presentation. Now I'll take up some questions from our team.
Okay.
The first question is, what are the primary benefits of baled silage compared to traditional fodder storage methods?
Traditional fodder storage in it?
Methods.
Okay. So baled silage, as I told, gives a longer shelf life. First thing, very cheap, very cost effective in terms of setting it up, the capital expenditure. So you can produce 3,000 tons for an investment of about $15,000. But if you want to do the same storage in, say, bunkers, that will cost you about 60 to 70 lakh rupees. The other thing is, if there is any mold or fungus, the loss is limited to one bale. So the entire, 3,000 tons or 1,000 or 500, whatever tonnage that you are producing is not prone to any other risk. If there is a 50 kgs getting wasted, it is getting wasted. But in a bunker, if there is any leak or a gap in the plastic coverage when wrapping, so the entire 1,000 or 2,000 tons is at risk. Secondly, so there are many dairy farmers who have purchased this baler, use it for their captive consumption, also have started selling it, so that instead of becoming a liability for them, the 50-60 lakh rupees earlier, you go to Punjab, you'll be seeing it. It has now become a revenue stream to them. And on top of it, this baler can be moved from point A to point B, not only in terms of you don't need to have crop just next to your dairy farm. For example, you have crop 50 kilometers away. You take the baler, do the baling, store it there, and bring it here. So there are many benefits that you can do. And you can convert a wide variety of materials that are available throughout the year into silage and use them. So it is cost effective. Mobility is one very important issue. Opportunity to make money out of it. As I already told, you can make as much as 15 lakh rupees a year. So if you have to say, if you are a progressive farmer with about 50 cattle, you would be requiring, say, a good quality cow would require about 15-20 kgs, let us say about a ton. So you require about 350 to 400, including your calf, etc. You have still untapped potential to do another 1,000, 1,500 tons, where using that you can make 15 lakh rupees additional income. These are some of the important benefits for a baler, and you can use it throughout the year without any problem. Does that answer your question? If there is any follow-up to it, I'm happy to take.
Yeah, okay. And next question, can you explain the process of baling silage and how it differs from other preservation techniques?
Okay, so we go back to the same slide. When say typically, there are three ways that we are currently doing. One slide. Typically in a bag, where farmers manually, do it using their legs, and they will not be able to, as you can see in these images, they use, very rudimentary ways of doing it. because of which they will never be able to achieve the compaction. Compaction is how hard you can create density, I mean, how dense you can create this matter. For example, it is like a rock. So the entire quality of silage is dependent on creating oxygen barrier and also creating scope for oxygen between particles. So when you press it so tight, there is very limited oxygen, possibility of limited oxygen present between the particles. Whereas this is not possible in bag silage, where it is not absolutely possible in pit silage, but it is reasonably good in bunker silage. So this is one of the reasons why storage is, when compared to storage with others. And these bales once done, these doesn't require any special storage conditions like you build a warehouse or something like that. We produce about 25,000 metric tons of silage on our own, which has a market value of about 15-16 crore rupees. And none of our own sites or our fodder entrepreneur sites who produce millions of metric tons use a single shed, to store 1 metric ton of silage. So, which means these don't these don't require any storage conditions at all. You leave it, whether it rains, whether it is sunny. These are good to go throughout the year. And these come with rat repellent. The film comes with rat repellent, which makes it ideal to store in any conditions where it doesn't attract any rat. No spoilage at all.
Okay. And how does bale silage address the fodder crisis specifically in the context of Indian agriculture?
Yeah, ma'am, there is a huge shortage of fodder, 30% we discussed. And currently the fodder, for example, the requirement in Kerala, you buy, green grass from Satyamangalam of Coimbatore. So each day, hundreds of trucks, when some of your participants are from Tamil Nadu, they will understand the case study that I'm telling. So each day, hundreds of trucks of green maize go from point, say Satyamangalam or some other such point, to say Kannur or Wayanad in Kerala, where there is no possibility of cultivating grass. So by the time it reaches there, which is very costly, about 5.5 rupees per kg that they buy green grass, almost 10 to 20% is gone. And once they unload it, and they have, because it heats up, you have to feed the entire thing within 1 or 2 days. And if you don't do it, there is no shelf life for a plant that is cut and put it in a truck and send it. So that is a very bad way of transporting, one location to another. That is never going to address the problem. So we have created a very high dense material that has a shelf life of 1 year, which can be transported from any point to any point. And by way of decentralization, with the technology that we have developed, we are visualizing that every 50 to 100th kilometer, there will be one fodder entrepreneur, like say it can be 4 or 5 fodder entrepreneurs who will cater to it. So there is no need for any dairy farmer to maintain a working capital inventory of fodder, which is like hay stacks or feed, etc. Just make a phone call and then get your silage, high quality silage delivered at the doorstep. We are demonstrating it now, 25,000 tons a year. We have done 200,000 metric tons on our own. And our fodder entrepreneurs are doing about 500,000 metric tons each year. So that speaks volumes about it, that the capacity of the problem and the acceptability of it as a solution. Now this has to be scaled up. The next level, within the next 5 years, we are visualizing ourselves doing about 3,000 such entrepreneurs, probably producing millions and millions of tons of fodder. That addresses the problem.
Okay.
And we are also coming up with very small balers that will be useful for captive consumption, like your chaff cutter. At one stage, we were not using chaff cutters. Today, people understood the importance of chaffing it before feeding it so that you optimize what you're feeding. And silage has the highest digestibility in terms of green grass because there is no wastage. It minimizes the wastage from the dairy farmer's perspective also.
Okay. And what types of crops are typically used for making baled silage in India?
Okay, we majority of it is maize, And then we have sorghum, barsim, oats, sugarcane tops, wheat, these are Napier, and these are some of the crops that, we are aware is widely getting used, and alfalfa, etc. And, in Africa, when they are using local grasses, when I'm also not aware, when they are converting all those grasses into silage. The palatability, the nutrition could vary, but the principle of storing it and using it remains intact.
Okay. And are there any specific climatic or geographical considerations for successful baled silage production in India?
No. So we have now baling units in Jammu to Kanyakumari, and we have baling units in west to east. So we have somebody doing it in Gujarat, somebody doing it in Madhya Pradesh, somebody doing it in Northeast. There are no considerations. As long as there is crop, there is a possibility of you harvesting, you will be able to bale it and use it throughout the year. That is the beauty of it. I mean, if there is, say, 1 degree temperature outside, and you have a bale, like say you have 10 tons of bale or 100 tons of bale, yeah, you as a dairy farmer can go happily, sleep in your home, come back in the morning, cut the bales that you want to feed every single day and feed it. Or else what will happen is the next morning, you don't know how you feed your sheep, goat, or cattle, or buffalo, whatever it is. Or when you go to Kosi River, Bihar, where there is flood like situation where cattle are left to stand in the flood situation, and nobody knows how to feed it. I mean, over there, at an elevated land, or elevated level, if you can keep your bales, I mean, at least you will be able to feed the cattle without any problem. Same is the case with Maharashtra or Anantapur. Drought-like conditions, you keep the bales. 45-degree Rajasthan, we are now supplying to Jaipur, etc., where the temperature goes up to 45 degrees or plus, and you keep the bale, cut open it, and feed it.
Okay.
We are now producing Barodi of Rajasthan, for example, and supplying into Gujarat and to Jaipur. We are now producing in Shirdi, supplying to Gujarat and Maharashtra. So, we are now producing in Karnataka, supplying in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu and Kerala.
Okay. And are there any specific climatic? Sorry, I have already answered. What are the key advantages of baled silage in terms of nutrient preservation and feed quality?
Okay, the feed quality is very good. I mean, baled silage comes with about 750 kgs per cubic feet capacity in terms of compaction. So there is no chance of any mold or fungus, which means your cattle loves it. And silage, when is preserved in right conditions, is known to be the most palatable grass. So people call it as, halwa. I mean, our dairy farmers call it as halwa because it is a sweet molasses aroma, and cattle love it. They love eating it. And when you feed this, good quality, I'm talking about very good quality crop that you harvest and feed and preserve it. So your concentrates cost will come down by a mark of 25%. So as against feeding about, say, 6 kgs, 8 kgs, you'll start feeding about 4 to 5 kgs. So this is because of preservation of nutrition at the right time of harvesting, in the right conditions, of course. That is done by baling in the most effective possible. That is there in silage as a science, and as a technology of using bale, at the most affordable price, it is able to reach the doorstep of the dairy farmers.
Okay. And can you provide insights into the cost effectiveness of baled silage production compared to other fodder solutions?
Yeah. So, for example, as I told you, when you, there is a simple thumb rule that I will do. So you typically would be feeding green fodder. If you take green fodder case, you would be feeding about 35 kilos of green fodder in a single day per cattle. Let us say that is the case. So the entire argument goes to the dry matter that comes out of it. About 85% of what you're feeding out of the 35% is moisture. So 15% is only dry matter. So roughly about 5 kgs or so. So you are buying that 35 kgs at about 4 rupee or 5 rupee, depending on the area that you're in, or even at about 3.5 rupees also. So the cost that you are spending for 35 kgs is anywhere between 110 to 150, 160 rupees, depending on which area are you in. I'm talking about a good quality fodder, good quality cow. I'm talking the same case. Now, for you to reach a dry matter of say at least 5 kilos, silage typically has a 35% dry matter. So for every kg of feed that you're giving, 65% is dry matter and 35% is the, 65% is the moisture, 35% is the dry matter. So now to be able to achieve what you would be achieving in 35 kgs of feed, you would ideally be requiring about 15 to 18 kgs of silage. So because the dry matter comparison is, even if it is about 30 kg, 30%, that is about 4.5 kgs. At about 35%, it is, 35%, it is about 5 kgs. So for 18 kgs or 15 kgs, silage is now delivered at about 7.5 to 8 rupees at the doorstep, which is comparable to the cost. You are not spending a single penny more than what you would be spending on buying green fodder. First thing. If you argue with me that, no, I cultivate the fodder. Okay, I mean, we take that case. Because farmers don't put their labor, the acreage that is getting wasted for fodder, etc., I mean, cultivating fodder, etc., in that. So we are not taking the dynamics. I'm talking about people who buy crop versus buying the crop. Now, the other benefit is there is an increase in milk yield straight away by using silage. Second thing is it saves at least 25% in way of unnecessary feeding of concentrates. You are feeding more concentrates because you are buying busa or you are buying paddy straw at about 8 rupees, 11 rupees, 12 rupees. It goes up to 22 rupees in acute shortage, and that is a crop residue which is very poor in palatability, very poor in nutritive values, and the amount of money that you're investing in it vis-a-vis the return on your investment as a dairy farmer is absolutely miserable. But when you compare that with silage, you can cut down the amount of hay, you can cut down on the concentrates, making silage as the best alternative. Because we cannot do it on our own, farmers did not go for it, despite governments for many decades wanted to do it. Connext, for the first time in India, has introduced this silage. That is precisely the reason why we already are seeing about 500,000 metric tons either done by us. We only do 25,000 tons on our own. That's our capacity. So there is about 100 times more opportunity. That's the reason why we went on to invent the missions with patented technology and have been creating thousands of entrepreneurs, creating millions of metric tons, so that the benefit reaches every door, at the most affordable price.
Okay. And yeah. How does bale silage storage and transportation contribute to addressing the logistical challenges of the fodder crisis?
Okay. I'll give you a case in point. Typically, when you put either green grass or a haystack into a truckload, if the truck payload, the truck carrying capacity is say about 25 metric tons, at best you'll be able to do 12 tons, 15 tons. The reason why hay is very expensive is because of its logistics cost and not the crop nutrition value. So 3 rupees, 4 rupees go into logistics, and 6 rupees or so is what the actual material would cost. So it reaches at about 12 rupees or so. This is something that I'm talking about Kerala. Now, when you look at silage, when a crop residue like hay is sold at about 10 to 12 rupees, we are able to deliver a full crop. Maize is a full crop, including the cob, including everything that is there in the crop, at about 8 rupees or a little less than 8 rupees, 7.5 rupees or so. This is largely because we optimize the payload. For a 25-ton truck, we are able to do it 25 tons. So as against 3 rupees that you would be spending on transporting hay from point A to point B, we are spending about 1.5 rupees straight away, cutting down 1.5 to 2 rupees on just logistics alone. That makes it viable for us to sell at 8 rupees. So does that answer your question, ma'am?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And just 3-4 more questions.
Sure. Yeah.
Are there any government initiatives or support programs
Yes.
support programs promoting the adoption of bio silage in India?
Absolutely, yes. See, tomorrow there is a tender by the Department of Animal Husbandry from Amethi, Uttar Pradesh, and they want to purchase 10,000 metric tons of silage to supply to their dairy farms. There are various state level initiatives that are happening. And for example, states also give subsidies on the missions. And the government of India is giving a 50% subsidy under National Livestock Mission, which we have discussed in our slides. So there are various. National Livestock Mission gives 50% subsidy and up to a maximum of 1 crore, where the government gives 50% subsidy, including sheds, including, large, you want to set up a large unit, you can still go ahead and do it. And PMEGP scheme, there is a subsidy of up to 25% if you are a rural setup, and up to 50 lakh rupees for manufacturing unit. Yeah, under Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund, you're eligible for up to 90% on the project cost with an interest subvention of up to 3%, making it a very attractive proposition if you want to go for it. And there is a moratorium of two years on repayment of principal, etc. And there have been under Rashtriya Gokul scheme, and there are several state government initiatives. For example, Maharashtra government, under their Sheep and Goat Federation, have taken about 15 to 20 units and have given it to various FPOs, so that sheep FPOs, they can produce and give it to their own members. So there are various initiatives, and there is also a large focus on buying. I mean, we earlier have worked with the government of Andhra Pradesh, where we did about 100,000 metric tons of fodder supplied, silage fodder supplied to the dairy farmers during acute shortage, where government was subsidizing it at 75% of the cost of the product. So these are some of the initiatives that have been taken, and more will follow. And you may want to contact your local state animal husbandry department, or rural development departments that you might be having, to understand more at a state level.
Okay. And could you share examples of successful baled silage implementation in regions facing similar fodder crisis?
Okay, I mean, Kerala, for example, Kerala cannot cultivate any grass, so it is an active importer of fodder at a very expensive price from Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Andhra, etc. And every day it is a nightmare for dairy farmers. And we started with 50 tons, which is 2 truckloads, and now we are doing about 15 to 20,000 metric tons of silage. We do 15,000 metric tons going to Kerala, and easily another 10 to 20,000 metric tons are going from our dairy, our fodder entrepreneurs. So this is in a span of 3 to 4 years. Amul, we started supplying to Banas 50 metric tons. Today, Banas is actively procuring about 15,000 metric tons of silage every year. Banas is a very dry district in Gujarat. The largest cooperative in the GCMMF, Banas is the largest contributor in terms of milk production. They are currently producing from what started as a 50 metric tons is now about 15,000 metric tons, Banas alone. And this applies to many other, Milma, which is, we started with a very few things, now is buying about 8,000 metric tons each year. They are acting as integrators to various societies. They take the order and route it through us. So these are some of the case studies that we are involved in. There could be hundreds of other cases. As I said, UP, Amethi, where we don't have any business presence at all. Our fodder entrepreneurs would be doing it. 10,000 metric tons, which is valued at about 8 crore rupees. 10,000 metric tons is a turnover of 8 crore rupees. So it can go to 10 entrepreneurs, and those 10 entrepreneurs can supply just to Amethi district. Now you UP is the largest, has the largest cattle population. There is a lot that Uttar Pradesh has to do, and they will be continuing to do.
Okay. And what are the potential market opportunities for baled silage producers and marketers in India?
Huge, ma'am. We ourselves over the next 2 years, from 25,000 tons that we are doing on our own, we want to be 100,000 metric tons. And I'll just tell from the turnover perspective. So we will be doubling next year. And no, next year we want to do 60%. And then from there, we will be doing 100 crore. We will be reaching 100 crore mark by in 2 financial years on our own. So what started with 0, we are now becoming a 100 crore mark. Video loan. 100 crore in 2 years from now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we have the last question. How can farmers and marketing professionals collaborate to promote the adoption of baled silage as a sustainable solution for the fodder crisis in India?
So can you repeat the question, please? How can
farmers and marketing professionals collaborate to promote the adoption of baled silage as a sustainable solution for the
we
fodder
are creating
crisis?
a marketplace. When Raghuveer, can you share that slide? The marketplace. No, it's not in this presentation. I want you to share the slide where we have fodder entrepreneurs. Then we are acting as marketing aggregators. Same is the case with others. Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's just a matter of 1 second.
That's okay, no problem. So till we get the the PPT, Karthi, you would like to ask any further questions?
Yeah, the same question, the final one that you asked, I have the same question.
Okay.
So how do you support the, say, the Connext entrepreneurs with the marketing to reach the supply, I mean, the need and the produce? How do you?
So if you're asking me, if a farmer comes forward to buy by investing, say, 15 lakh rupees, how is our support going, right? That is one very important aspect. The rural fodder entrepreneurs may not be able to sell to the fullest potential. This is the business model that Connext, works on. So you have, maize farmers who supply crop to the fodder entrepreneurs at a village level. So typically, let us say, I'll take case study of one farmer in Periyapatna, which is in Mysore district, or in Shirpur of Dhule district of Maharashtra. I'll tell how it is working. So we train them and we does the installation. There is a continued support to them. Once they are part of the family, they are part of the family. And we usually tell them, we give them a demand estimation. They are free to sell on their own to the extent that they can do. Their spare potential is what we take. So we have like that fodder entrepreneurs present across the country. And what we do is we go ahead actively and aggressively pursue with various milk cooperatives and private dairy farmers, creating marketing opportunities. So we don't produce in all the areas. We will work backwards with the fodder entrepreneurs present in that particular area. For example, as I told, Shirpur is in Dhule district, which is close to Sumul. Sumul places an order, say, for about 700-800 tons a year. So we don't have to now set up. Our fodder entrepreneur present in that particular area is producing it. So that way we are creating a market access. Secondly, the eligible, if you are convinced that the fodder entrepreneur is not in a situation to be able to invest even 50% of the requirement, we also give them credit facility and recover over a period of time by way of buying silage from him, so that they are able to set it up. Usually that happens when they want to scale it up. The first unit they do it, then they want to scale up. The second unit usually is given on credit basis, which we recover over a period of time. And there is also active contribution way of machinery and consumables. And the market network, we are in the process of creating a marketplace where dairy farmers on one side will be placing the order. And it is in a way Uberization of the entire thing. So we know exactly where our fodder entrepreneurs are located across the country. And if, for example, if an order comes from, if you are in Shirdi and the order comes from Ahmednagar, So we don't have to look elsewhere. And the system intuitively places the order to Ahmednagar fodder entrepreneur. And then the material gets delivered to the Ahmednagar dairy farmer. That way, we will be able to create a brilliant marketplace for all these fodder entrepreneurs and then the dairy farmers.
All right, thanks, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. So
This is the business model. Connext acts as an aggregator from the fodder entrepreneurs and supplies to milk cooperatives. When we say milk cooperatives, we directly ship it to the last mile. So the D1, D2, D3 is the dairy farmers. So it is built to the dairy, the dairies or the milk cooperatives, ship it to the last mile. That's how we have built the entire business model, which is working a very well-oiled process, which is working very well. And this process is going to be 100,000 metric tons in the coming 1 year.
okay, that's very nice. So let me check. Yeah. Okay, Mr. Madhav, I don't see any more questions. So now we have come to end of question round. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, we'd like to thank you for a very detailed presentation and answering all the questions in depth. And we also like to thank all the participants for joining this meeting. The meeting will now be closed.
Sure, thank you. And if
Thank you
anybody
very
is
much.
interested to have more details or interested to pursue this, they can either write to info@connext.in or they can write to sales@connext.in. We'll be more than happy to answer the questions. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.